Edgar Allan Poe and Gothic time period.
The Gothic time period originated in Europe in the early 19th century. It is the style of the Romantic period in imitation of the medieval that makes the Gothic genre. It features terrifying experiences in ancient castles connected with subterranean dungeons, secret passageways, flickering lamps, screams, ghosts, and graveyards. The style is known for having mystery, fantasy, supernatural, and the terrifying. Chile Gothic form is seen in pervading Victorian literature and American fiction. It can be seen in films, television, and videos in our culture. Characteristics in Edgar Allan Poe's stories featured beautiful females who are dead or dying, along with males who are insane. The plots of his stories consisted of murder, being buried alive, and the physical or mental torture. He explored extreme situations displaying people's real nature. Poe was born in Boston, Massachusetts on January 19, 1809. He was born the second child out of 3 to 2 actors. Poe in his early life suffered a harsh reality before the age of 3 that later played a role in his stories setting a dark tone. His father abandoned his family and his mother died of tuberculosis. Poe then became an orphan child to John and Frances Allen, who lived in Richmond, Virginia. Poe attended the University of Virginia before having to drop out because of debt and other financial difficulties. Unable to support himself, he enlisted in the Army. He got an appointment at West Point. Upon visiting, he strongly disliked it, feeling confined. He got himself expelled, then moved to Baltimore to live with his aunt and cousin Virginia, where he began to write poetry and short stories. Poe's philosophical and artistic talents in writing made him an important literary figure. He had a symbol which served as a method that gave his works, such as The Fall of the House of Usher, that sparked people's interest. In this story, you experience a creepy haunted house, an eerie background about his friend's family, the burying of his friend's sister alive, and the death of his friend's sister and his friend at the house, while it simultaneously gets destroyed. This story is a good example of Gothic literature, providing components and qualities of death, sublime, madness, emotion, and the unexplainable. Poe had productive years such as getting a job as an editor for Burton's Gentleman's Magazine, published his first collection of short stories, Tales of the Grotesque and Arabesque, editor of Graham's Magazine, also publishing The Murders in the Rue Morgue, also winning $100 for the short story, The Gold Bug. Followed by this, he experienced an immense low, the death of his wife and cousin Virginia. Devastated, he moved back to Baltimore, where he struggled with depression, which caused a decline in his health. Poe's personal involvement with experiencing death of his mother and wife and the abandonment of his father made it easy for him to express the darkness he felt. This is why he is considered the explorer of the torments of the human soul. Poe's version of Gothic literature differentiates from a famous Gothic author, Mary Shelley, who wrote Frankenstein. She wrote the dangers of science, while Poe wrote fictional stories with a twist of reality. Both authors had elements exhibiting death and decay. Poe demonstrated an eclectic technique of language with extraordinary use of imagination. All in all, Edgar Allan Poe greatly influenced the Gothic time period. The combination of both horror and romance with a theme of death and sublime, along with elements of having a presence of madness, emotion, and the unexplainable. His imagination and exquisite language made an impact on his time period in America, in which makes him the master of the Gothic form in the United States. His works influenced others such as H.P. Lovecraft and Ambrose Bierce. That's good.